Feeling good about the album?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm like excited to finally like not be the only person that needs to listen to it. So yeah, grateful it's coming out finally. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
after having like so many singles, the album
Mm,
has got to feel different.
completely, dude. But you know what's weird is that I hated putting out as many singles as I had. It wasn't something that I necessarily was like. It wasn't like a choice to have put
Really?
out as many. Yeah, it wasn't a choice to have put out as many singles as I did. Um, So
But
yeah,
I
there
think,
was
but I
actually
think it,
I was yeah, go on.
I think it's worked.
Oh no, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't even I think hmm would I say if I was given the opportunity to do no, I wouldn't do anything differently. Honestly, I wouldn't do anything differently. But I know that at the time when all the singles were coming out, I was just like, I'm I'm really not trying to become a singles guy. I'm really not trying to come across as though I'm like a singles guy. And um yeah, and I think it was interesting for me as well because with the amount of singles that were coming out, what it done was it kind of didn't give people this all-round view of
Hmm.
like who I was as an artist and what I was capable of doing, what I wanted to do, and I think that's what I found frustrating was that every time I put out a single, everyone was just like, "Oh, that's exactly what we expect of Sam." And it was like,
Mm.
well, you're not going to get an album just of like, you're not just going to get an album of like these types of songs. You're going to get a record where it's a bit more like broad and more open and more stuff's happening. So, um, yeah, I think it was an incredible setup, and I'm really grateful for those singles. But like, I'm never gonna do that again.
How how do you listen to full albums more
Yeah,
often, or do you listen to you
I
do?
I listen to albums. I was laughing with my friend the other day because we were like, we were just like, we're so old. We don't, in our minds, we're just so old. We can't, I don't know how to make a playlist. I have like two playlists and there's like 800 songs on it because I just chuckle and there's no structure to it or anything. It's just got all of my favorite songs on it.
Yeah.
And I'm just basically like, I wouldn't give anyone the aux cable because, you know, a Disney song might come on at some point because you know Disney's great. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm not a playlist guy. I don't know how to like curate any of those types of things. I'm very much just like I just listen to albums. And to be fair, if I've got a playlist, it's probably got like 7 songs from one album on on like the playlist. So it's just there's no point in me making a playlist. It'll just be an album.
Yeah, I mean the album is like the ultimate expression of like complete artist,
100%, yeah, 100%.
and
Especially
I
them at that time as well.
totally, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like a time. Sorry, my manager's calling me. He's probably like, get on the interview. But yeah,
Probably.
yeah.
So then have you, with it being a point in time, when was this point in time for you? Did you make the album? Have you been? Was it like recent, or have you been? With all the singles, have you been like putting it all together? What point in time for you was the album?
Yeah, I mean, I started it technically in 2017. I
Mm-hmm.
technically started the album in like 2017, and every song that was coming out as a single. So from maybe I think the first thing we put out was "How Does It Feel." So from like then onwards, excuse me, from like then onwards, we kind of knew we were building up to um an album, and I'd pretty much like put together a project, and one that I was pretty proud of, and I guess being with a major label though, I think it wasn't going to be enough to get the numbers that they wanted and to like hit the targets that they wanted to hit. So I think then it was just like, all right, well, we need to like keep putting more songs out to keep getting everyone sort of like excited. And I was like, by the time you guys dropped this album, dude, we would have just put all of them out as singles. So
right.
we ended up, yeah, I mean, eventually we got to a place where the relationship was just like, all right, yeah, they didn't want to continue, I didn't want to continue, and so we moved on from it. So that left me in a weird position of still owning a lot of like the songs that I had created, but then none of the big singles that had come out. So yeah, after that, kind of re-looking at the album again and working on new music that was going to sort of replace the old ones, but at the same time, not even replace, but just new music that was going to kind of start this new journey and was going to go down a direction that I was a bit more like happy with.
Yeah.
And then also, yeah, giving me an opportunity to like actually make a bit more of the album that I would have wanted to have made.
Totally.
And so, yeah, it kind of, yeah, it technically started in like 2017, and yeah, ended in 2021 or 2020.
How did you get signed to a major label? What is it like being signed?
It was a different time. It's really weird. The music industry moves so quickly that you don't, like, I look at what it's like to be signed now and I'm like, what? Like, how? It's just weird. And, you know, everything feels, and I don't even mean weird in like a good or bad way. It's just different. So I'm just like,
when were you signed?
I was like 21. So probably 2014, 2014, 2015, I think. Yeah, 2014.
What was it like? What happened? Well, like,
I was in uni and I had finished working I was in uni. I finished my second year. I was doing shows a lot. I'd started a band. I was in a band. And
what was the band?
It's called Ill Funk with a P and a H. And we just played like ska records and like covered
God.
like D'Angelo and like just like old soul joints and just funk and, you know, whatever we really wanted. It was just great. And then we would like write some stuff and yeah, it was dope. It was like we just it was dope to be able to like be gigging as a band and going into London as often as we were and doing it. And but I was missing classes. So I was basically like failing in most of my classes. So then third year came round and we basically just had an agreement with my management and my parents that like I wasn't gonna gig for my third year of uni because it was the important year. And so I didn't gig until one of my dissertation assignments was to do a gig. So
wow.
I was like,
was that your choice?
No, it was a part of the course. It was like you have to like it was a part.
It wasn't like, you like shoehorning that in.
Yeah, I had nothing to do with it. And they were like, you have to do a show. I was like, okay, like I can do a show.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah. And I think obviously my managers were like, sick, this is a brilliant opportunity. So they didn't even care that like the assignment was the assignment. They were just like, we're gonna do a show. And so we did a show and they invited like half the industry down to it. I didn't know that they did. But they had invited half the industry down to it. And there was basically a ton of labels at that show. And I think by the end of the show, maybe 4 or 5 labels wanted to sign me.
Oh my God.
I didn't know that either because obviously I just went back to uni right afterwards and just tried to like get back to work. And then I found out a couple of weeks later and they were like, yeah, well, we want to sign you. So I started doing like the rounds and everything happened very secret. Like it was very secretive, which kind of pissed me off. Sorry, can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it kind of pissed me off. So but you know, I did the rounds and met everyone that I could. And then I think, yeah, ended up just going with Columbia. There wasn't much, it's weird because there wasn't much to base the idea of signing off of. I think there's nothing that anyone in those worlds can say to you that
right.
it like everyone's doing the same thing. Everyone's going to be passionate at the beginning. So it's actually really hard to gauge who to pick or what to pick. So I kind of just, based it off of roster, which I also think is a stupid thing to do as well. You don't like, there's no point in why every roster has artists that do really well and then artists that do like really badly,
right?
Or not badly, but they just don't do really well.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like all of them are the same. None of them are like better than any of the others. I wasn't ever paying attention to like, oh, who's number one in like the freaking label world. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know about any of that crap. So
that is wild, though, that you had that a school assignment ended up with you being signed to a major label. That is absolutely nuts.
Well, I didn't even sign. That was the weird part. Was like I said I was like, I'll go with Columbia, but we were like, I'm not signing till I graduate. So they waited for like, I think they waited for like 7-8 months for me to like officially finish uni. And then I was like, all right, cool. I'm done. I'll sign with you guys now. And we did it. Yeah. So
that is wild. Were your parents happy that you stayed and finished the degree?
Yeah. I mean, like 90% of it was their idea. It was just like, but also the way I did look at it was, I mean, like just purely based off of common sense, it was like, all right, these guys haven't kicked me off the course yet. I've made it to third year. I've worked pretty, like, regardless of the fact that I missed all the courses in second year, I worked pretty hard in the summer to make it into third year. So I was like, look, I've worked hard to get here. The most I can do is complete this. Like, if I wanted to drop out, I should have done it in my first year. So it would have just been stupid to have made it to third year and
what is your degree in?
I did popular music performance. That's the other thing as well. It's like, if I failed in music, it would have been pretty weird. So I ended up getting a degree, which I'm really, really, proud of and happy that I did that,
And you'll be putting it to practical use.
Who says I'm not doing it right now?
Right. And what's the university that you went to?
It was called Southampton Solent.
Okay. Before, you had said that you put a Disney song in your playlist. I've got some strong feelings about Disney songs. What is your...
Jeez, why are my managers calling me so much?
They probably don't know that
I'm so sorry.
That we're in. I think I nudged one of them.
Okay, my phone's on Do Not Disturb though as well. I don't know why that's not working, but sorry about
that. You had dropped that you said that you had a couple Disney songs in the playlist, and I'm wondering what you think the best Disney song of all time is.
Oh, don't do this. Oh, don't do this. Damn. Phil Collins. All right, so most people would be like, oh, Lion King and all those ones, but like people really sleep on Phil Collins on the Tarzan soundtrack.
Dude, trashing the
that
camp.
Soundtrack is stupid. It is so good. Phil Collins goes, I used to watch
Two worlds,
behind the scenes.
One family.
Dude, like I used to sit down and watch the BTS of that on like the DVD of like him just making that soundtrack. I was like,
what did he do?
They literally make it with like cans and they make it with all the stuff that you'd think they make it with. But I guess the original, the actual soundtrack one, it's like mainly voices. And I think they got like NSYNC to come on and just like contribute to it. So you've got like Justin Timberlake in a booth, like doing the freaking trashing the camp soundtrack on a Tarzan. But I mean, I don't know, anything on that soundtrack is pretty fire to me. I feel like people sleep on that, all those records, low-key. Yeah.
I agree. I had that on CD when I was a kid, and I remember me and my brother just like being in the basement, like literally trashing the camp, just like messing it up.
Yeah, man, it's genius.
What is your soccer team?
So I haven't played or watched football in years, but I'm surrounded by Liverpool fans. So by default, my family's just all Liverpool fans. So by default, I'm just kind of like the only knowledge I have of football at this point, excuse me, is what I know about Liverpool, and that's because they're always talking about it, and they're always like, if a game comes on, I'll be in and I'm in the room with like my sister or something, and I'll end up watching. You know,
Why do you think it never
or
hit with you?
I used to play football. I was like, that was the thing. That was like my thing. I was gonna, you know, I don't want to say I was gonna go pro, but I took it seriously enough to like consider that.
Right.
And the interesting story is basically my dad's a pastor,
Uh-huh.
so I used to play for like my school team, and then I got the coach on my school team was like the coach for one of the local teams. So he wanted me. He was like, "Oh, you're great. We're gonna like we want you on the team." So I was meant to go do tryouts or whatever you call them or whatever for it, and um ended up. I think I did one or two, and then ended up just not doing it because my dad was a pastor. Sunday league was on Sunday. Church is also on Sunday.
Wow.
So my dad was like, I can't take you to these games. I can't, my dad's super supportive. So he would always be the one to like have to take me to those games and watch me at those games. But he was just like, yeah, I also don't want you missing church on a Sunday. So I didn't end up doing it because of that. And then I feel like I just ended up not caring afterwards. But I became a better musician. So yeah, I literally became a much better musician from just going church every Sunday. So you know, yeah.
Were you like the church star? Were you, you know?
Oh, I don't know if I want to say that, but my church wasn't like massive, so everyone knew everyone.
Right.
And like, you know, I'd be the one that would maybe be up there leading worship on some days, or I originally started with drums, and then I think as I got a little older, I ended up like leading in the team. So I think there was a lot more attention on me, I think, after that. But I don't know about star.
There's nothing
It's
there's nothing more charming or inspiring than like a little kid who is great at something and leading a choir or church, like
yeah. I can imagine it was like inspiring for a lot of the younger kids or whatever, or like kids my age and stuff like that. And yeah, it was great and was cool. I mean, I still play in the church team now, when I have the chance to. But it was cool, man. It was cool, especially at a young age, to be able to like be doing that.
yeah. I
Yeah.
remember realizing one time in church that I could just sing as loud as I wanted. And
Yeah.
it was and it
It's
was
like
like
everyone's doing it. This is
right.
great. It's like this isn't crazy at all. Like we're all in
And
this together. Yeah.
like what a fun experience. Like what a
Oh
fun
man,
thing
church
to
is the
do.
best.
To
Yeah,
just be
man.
like, hey, let's all get together and like sing some songs. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
man. Yeah. It's
That
the
just doesn't
best.
happen anywhere else. You know,
Yeah,
we're
man.
not
Yeah.
encouraged to do that like anywhere. Like you go to a show and it's like, be quiet and like watch this person perform. Like
Yeah.
sometimes like people get into it, but it's like that really is like the only place where we're like, hey, y'all, like we're gonna do this together. And like we're not gonna
Yeah.
have like like everybody's gonna be the star here. Like be as
Yeah.
loud as you can.
I think it's also a form of humility though as well, because it is really this idea of like worshiping, and so it's giving over this side. It's sort of forgetting about yourself for a second and giving,
Mm,
your love and your adoration and your praise and worship, and even just like maybe some of the stuff that you're going through, and it's like a release, and you're giving it all to God. And I think that's to me anyway, that's like the most beautiful thing about it, is that it isn't about you, and if it is, it shouldn't be.
mm.
And that's what I guess, you know it's makes it so sort of wonderful and beautiful, and it's this idea of community and bringing people together to be able to like, yeah, just be there for one another, but at the same time give praise, and yeah, it's incredible. I think it's an amazing thing.
Do you ever have like a conflict with the like you were saying, where it's like it's not about you, but like when you are a musician and an artist, it like is about you in a different way?
Yeah, 100% all the time. I think I constantly fight I like. I'll put it this way: it's almost impossible to do what I do and not develop some type of ego.
It is impossible.
You know, it's like you can't do it
You
without
won't be
developing some.
successful, you know?
Yeah, 100%. So I think there is a there is something about that I do find quite irritating and annoying. That is like, damn, this is I'd like for this to maybe be um a little less about me, but also understanding, you know, that it is um about me. But I also think it's like surrounding myself with people that are gonna just remind me that, yeah, bro, once you leave that room or you come off that stage or whatever it is, that's it. Like you can have that 3-4 minutes of whatever, but it isn't about you. And I think yeah, I think that's important. I think like everyone has an ego, do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different when you're sort of your livelihood is based around people.
Yeah. But I
Yeah,
also think that that's like appealing about your music is that it's inviting and it doesn't, you know, it feels communal. It feels
I appreciate that, man.
you know, I feel that.
No, I appreciate that.
I have to ask, did you really get fired from Five Guys?
Can't answer that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
The last question is, what is the last song that you couldn't stop listening to?
Oh, damn it. I've like for it's a song called Erase Me. By I'm just gonna cheat here and look
Do
at
it. Yeah. Do it.
my playlist, but it's Erase Me by Lizzie McAlpine.
Okay. I'll find it.
I'm really disappointed that I'm like
No. I'll find it.
McAlpine.
But
I think it's like McAlpine, but yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful song. She did it with Jacob Collier, and I don't know. I just love the song. I think it's beautiful. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna play that after this coming out of it.
Please, man. It's a brilliant song. It's just so gorgeous.
And I'll play Trash in the Camp at some point.
You have to. I'm really gonna hold you to that. I genuinely am. You have to play it. Don't do the NSYNC one. Do the original. Like really go for it.
Oh well. All right, man. I gotta run. Thank you for
Appreciate you, man.
setting aside some time. I mean, I am ready for this album. We started playing, I heard Broke and I was like, this song is brilliant and we need to play it. And I brought it to a music meeting. We played that, and then Church and All Good. And now we're playing Grow. So I can't wait for the full album. Big supporters.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. Thank you so much, Justin.
All right, man. All right.
Appreciate it, buddy.
See ya.
Have a good one. Bless you, man.
You too.